everybody, and welcome to another Winging It F1 video, where today we're going to talk about Sergio Perez. I'm Freddie Coates. I'm joined with Adam Dickinson and Nigel Chu to give Sergio a little evaluation. We're going to talk about whether Sergio Perez is hitting his stride and whether he is just coming good at the right time for Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Championship to support Max Verstappen. Adam Dickinson, my friend, do you think Sergio Perez has been doing enough this year, and do you think Cota is a step in the right direction?
I mean, it depends what enough is. I think he's a step up from the other drivers they've had, and what we've seen with Perez to go alongside what we saw with Gasly and Kvyat and Albon is that the Red Bull second seat is really, really, really difficult. So in terms of, I think enough for him keeping the seat is doing better than those other options and better than whoever is in AlphaTauri who has a shot at taking the Red Bull seat, which at the moment he is. Having said that, I don't really think he's impacting the title fight or the driver's title fight. And, I think if you look at Bottas, I think recently, I don't know, to me anyway, there's not many moments where I think Perez has had an impact, but it depends what enough is. That's, to me, I just think the gulf between Verstappen and Hamilton and the rest of the field is kind of too big for anyone to have too much of an impact. I think him and Bottas are probably pretty even. I put Bottas just ahead of Perez at the moment, or kind of over the season. But it's an extremely tough gig, and I think he's doing passable, which isn't meant as a backhanded compliment. It's I think that's the level. That's really the level I expected him, I guess, to be at. I don't really think he's impacting Mercedes race too much, but I don't think you can expect that to happen every race either.
Well, I think 2 weeks ago in Turkey definitely prevented Hamilton from getting on the podium. So that's my first one. But more on the weekend that's just happened in Texas, I think it's probably one of his best weekends of the year. He was there in practice, and normally he drops away in qualifying when it matters well. So I thought that might happen because in Q2 on the mediums, he seemed to not be very happy on that tyre. But then Q3 he was on pole position, and he was on course for it until Hamilton and Verstappen went a bit quicker. So I think it was one of his best qualifyings of the year. And then in the race, considering he was a bit ill, didn't have his drink, I think we can cut him some slack. And I think he got the result which he deserved, quite frankly, for me. I can't remember if he was within. Yeah, he would have been within Hamilton's pit window in the first pit stop as well, wouldn't he? So then Hamilton couldn't respond to Verstappen. So yeah, I think it was a good weekend for him overall, I'd say.
I think if you look at Perez versus Bottas across the season, Bottas in races Bottas and Verstappen have finished. Bottas has only finished ahead of Verstappen and taken points off him once, and that was in Turkey. Perez has done a bit more to combat the threat of Hamilton, if you will, and to play the number two fiddle role quite well. Baku stands out, obviously. Then Hamilton took himself out of the equation, but the whole race, really, Perez was keeping him at arm's length on a track where it's very easy to overtake. That's a really good job. In Monaco as well, he went long in a really, really good way and just did the job and did the business. Yes, Hamilton was stuck behind Gasly and Vettel, but Perez just did the business when needed to and managed to just get out ahead of Hamilton. And Turkey, as Nigel's mentioned, they all stand out as moments. There have been a few moments where he's become anonymous and gone missing. And I think really from sort of Silverstone to probably Monza, Sochi, he was a bit sort of on the wayside. But
no, I disagree with that. I disagree. He could have had 2 podiums there easily. I mean, he crossed the line third at Monza, or he lost it because of the track. He cut the corner when he overtook. And then Sochi, before it started raining, he would have been third, almost certainly. So
that's the cut-off. So that's what I mean. Before that,
4 races
offwards.
Yeah,
but that's, so you're right. It's only a few races.
That's a good point. In a row where he's been pretty good, like very good actually. Yeah.
And I think, like you say, I think this was better than that. And he's going his own way on setup, and that's seems to be helping him. He said that in a bit in Turkey, and obviously this weekend in the USA. And the nature of the Red Bull at the Turkey with a bit more understeering really helped him in the race runs and the practice runs. He had very good pace. The qualifying did let him down, but everywhere else he was pretty great. And then, like you say, he had provisional pole at the start of Q3. I don't think anyone really needed Perez to be that close to get that contract at any point or anything. I think he was going too fast for what was required, you could say, at points in Kota. And then he had diarrhea on the Sunday, so that's not great.
Under any circumstances. Under any circumstances, I think we can all agree that is not great. So what do you think the ceiling is for him? Do you think this is the best? Do you think if he does this every race, that's the best job that he can be doing? Or, you know, he's not going to beat Hamilton most weekend, but, you know, do you think he should be? Or, you know, do you think he should be looking to beat Hamilton on more occasions?
I think the Sochi weekend was very good. And I think if he can carry on with sort of roles like that, where he is sort of an element, and similar with this weekend, like Nigel said, for the first stint, he's an element. And I think that's what he needs to be doing, really. And I think he's doing that a lot more than at points this year I've expected him to be doing.
Nigel, he didn't have the hard tyres as well in the second stint, so he couldn't really push at all for a good 20 laps in the middle. So then he was never going to be a threat, I guess. I mean, he probably wasn't anyway. But no. I think if Mercedes and Red Bull were equal, which I think they were, I think third is probably the ceiling for Perez, and I think that's more than. I think that's what Red Bull need, you know, for the constructors. As long as he's beating Bottas, I think that should be the target. And I think that is fine. I think it's more than fine, actually. So I think that should be his target every weekend.
I mean, this podiums, very good.
Yeah. And if Red Bull do have a faster car than that, if they have the fastest car, then yes, Perez perhaps should push Hamilton, but they haven't had the fastest car since, well, arguably Zandvoort, although I think that's quite even. So for me, probably back to Austria for me. So
I mean, I think the caveat to that is, you know, the last time that he did beat Bottas was France before Kota. So having a long run where Bottas had been on top. So, you know, I know there are absolutely other factors, but just looking at the points and the scores that they're bringing in at the end of races, you know, Bottas has been doing that. So, you know, it's how they kind of go from here. Like you say, if you can repeat this weekend, then that would be great. But I think they need, you know, from that aspect, this is just one race.
That is a very good point.
4 races have been great. I mean,
Championship-wise,
he crossed the line ahead of Bottas in Monza, and in the rain, Bottas was awful in Sochi, but then he managed to get fifth because of the rain. He was awful, though.
I mean, in Monza, Bottas probably, you know, Bottas should have had pole and won, really, or he should have at least started from pole because he had his engine, he had his penalty.
But standings wise, if you look at it standings wise, whereas Perez after his win in Baku, something like 80 points, and now he's only in the sort of 10, 11 races since that, he's kind of only really equaled that in points. Arguably not even got that far because he's on 150 odd now. He's only just gone ahead of Lando Norris in the championship this race. So sort of points wise, after sort of race 7 to race 17, he's been mediocre. But the sort of, I don't know, race 14, 15, 16 and 17 have had flashes of good. And then race 17, obviously Kota was very good. So I look at that and see a trajectory coming back that's pretty good. And I think that's hitting a stride at the right time, but it isn't discounting the fact that there was a big trough in form.
I think that's the thing. And I think it was just after, it was around when his contract got announced, that kind of seemed to be a bit of the drop off where, you know, I think it felt like a good time that his contract was announced because I think he was a bit of a non-event in the next few races after that. So, you know, I think like with a lot of drivers in the grid, it's just kind of, you know, that we've had a lot of drivers at turning points over the season. I think he's at one of those now, but it's not, it's kind of whether he can carry on that trajectory, and he needs
He's
to.
had 4 races of it.
Yeah,
What do you want
we're
to do?
agreeing. We're agreeing. If he can carry on then that trajectory, that's good.
If this is a 4-race peak, which a fair few mediocre drivers have had through the season, have had peaks of a few races and then gone back down. So
I don't think many drivers have had a 4-race streak of very good races. I don't think that. I think maybe 2, but not 4.
I think Vettel had 3. I was going to say Ricciardo, but then I realised no, not Ricciardo. But yeah, maybe not. But
that one today.
We are
definitely not. Yeah, I mean, he had a couple of. Yeah, he had like a couple, but not that many. But yeah, I think it's then going on from there, and like we say, directly impacting Hamilton, Mercedes, and beating Bottas, which like I say, he needs to be outscoring Bottas as well, or he needs to be doing one or the other, I think, and we'll see.
We will see. And next race is Mexico, and if he's hitting form there, I'm very happy for him. I really want him on the podium in Mexico. I think
what to win.
Oh yeah, true. Let's want him to win. That would be fantastic. That stadium in the middle of the circuit, full of fans cheering on a Checo win. I think his Formula One career would be complete there anyway. Who cares if Max gets the title after that for him? He doesn't care.
I mean,
imagine if the Red Bull won 2 and Perez is first, Verstappen second, 10 laps to go. What on earth are they going to do?
Oh no!
They'd swap him. They'd swap him, absolutely.
I know
they would swap.
They'd swap him and then have bottles thrown after the race.
Because Red Bull would never be bought in Mexico again.
If they did that would be mad, wouldn't it? So
be great advertising for Monster Energy, though. So there'll be winners and losers. But yeah, I mean, it's a weird one as well, because he's not, he's already got the drive for next year, and he's, I think, like I said at the start, and it feels like the best way to close is that in terms of him at Red Bull, this season has been fine. I think there's more. It's probably about expectation. There's definitely more that he could do. We've discussed, those troughs that he had, but compared to the drivers that have had that seat, it's nothing really. And, it's a weird one, because he's got the seat until someone better comes along. And when someone better comes along, then, given his age and his kind of potential growth, it's not really, no matter how well he's doing, I don't really think, we're looking, a few years into the future, but no matter how well he's doing, I think if there's a driver that they think has the potential, then they'd put he or she in instead. So, he's doing enough this season and, for next season. And if he carries on at this level, I don't think there's anyone at Red Bull or in the Red Bull system that would challenge him the year after that. So, it's, especially given how kind of tough the drive is, that the fact that he has hit the level and probably hit expectations is pretty remarkable, or is to be applauded, I'd say.
You're right. That's a good place to round up the Checo convo. He's doing good. I really want him to win in Mexico. Now he's brought that up. Anyway, that brings to an end our Checo conversation. We've been Winging It F1. You can check us out on Twitter at Winging It F1, believe it or not. You can also see our personal Twitters there in the description below. And please, like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you want. I mean, why not? It gives us stats. Nigel's going to dislike it. You can listen to this in podcast form if you want to. We have a lot more besides and topics for the whole US Grand Prix that we can discuss. Winging It F1 podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Acast, Google Podcasts, whatever you want to pod on, we are podding there too, or aren't. But if you want us anywhere, just say, and we might do that. Who knows? But anyway, it's been a great chatting about Checo with you guys. Thanks very much, and see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.
Get this podcast on Tinder.